Welcome everyone to Mongols Pregame'n Edition. This is where we spend a few minutes chatting with the team prior to their next matchup. Joining me for this one is a player who seemingly put the team on his back to lift them out of our scoreless chasm. It's Robbie Mertz. Robbie, how's it going, man?
Doing well, Mike. Thanks for having me on again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You were looking a little Rambo-esque in the last game with the scruff and the headband. How's your head?
Head's good. Got the staples out on Monday. So I had them in for about 9 or 10 days. Really happy to have them out now. So hopefully, well, I'm hoping that I'm saying goodbye to the headband this weekend, but
Okay.
I feel like others are hoping that I'm not. So
I was going to ask you, are you superstitious? Is that the kind of thing you'd want to keep wearing, or just no, be done with it?
personally, I'm not, but there's a few people within the team that are saying that I have to wear it again. So
Fair enough. Last time you and I talked was a few weeks ago. We talked about sort of the weight of not scoring.
yeah.
Goal scored, weight lifted. You guys feeling good?
Yeah, I mean, it came in bunches, and I think there's definitely a big weight, especially to do it that emphatically. It wasn't a 1-0 win, so we proved, that we certainly can score goals. We have them within our team, so I think that was nice. But at the same time, I know at least a number of us, myself included, just walking off the field, like it's just one game. And to be honest, I don't know that Oakland really showed up in the way that they wanted to on last Saturday. So we know that this weekend is going to be probably a tougher test, and we're going to have to be at our best again.
Yeah, for sure. You took a solid pen. Was the plan going into it that you were going to take the pens in the game, or was that an on-field decision?
I think it was a little bit unspoken because we didn't necessarily talk about it before the game. Danny Griffin, DG, has been on the pens this year. Obviously, he's been injured the last couple of games, so it was sort of vacant in that sense. I have been on pens in the past. It was years ago now, in my second year here, but I think in that moment it was sort of it was a little bit up in the air. I had taken one in training the day before. And so that was one thing, but then I think also in that moment, the game was still very much in the balance. It was 1-0, and we've been fragile, so I think we knew that it was a big moment. We needed to make it 2 there, and I felt like, just as someone with more experience, like, to be honest, if it was going to be missed, I felt like it was better for it to be a guy who had who had been around a little bit longer, and not to put that on someone younger or someone less experienced.
So as a leader, you more or less just said, "I'm taking it." It wasn't somebody else going, "Hey, Robbie, you should take this instead."
Correct. Yeah, I think
Okay.
I knew once we got the pen, I was like, I'm gonna step up and take this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it's just, it's about a little bit of responsibility, I guess.
In that moment, did you actually look at where the keeper went, or are you more just like focused on yourself? Because it looked like your head was down and you knew what you were doing and you were doing it.
Yeah, that was really the case. I had actually thought about it a little bit before the game. I had a couple options on like what I was thinking, and then shortly before the penalty, I was just kind of like, I know that he's gonna go one way or the other. I don't think he's going to guess middle here at this stage of the game. And with it
Yeah.
just being like a penalty in the middle of the game, I figured he would guess. So I had decided to go middle, and that's what I did.
I'm just curious. We've talked to Bushy about sort of how the keepers will plan for a pen in a situation like that. Is that something that you guys talk about before the game? Like, this is what the keepers' tendencies are. If you do get a pen, they might go this way or that way, or is it more or less just you go into it and you have your
With the
plan?
penalty takers, I would say no, because you don't, like, really, the keeper's reacting to you and what you've done.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't think it goes the other way around. I think you kind of just have to make your decision. And obviously, you see a lot of guys these days trying to look the keeper off, and like that's a little bit more of a split-second decision. And then there's other people that kind of make their mind up ahead of time. So
The
I'm
team.
hoping that there's no opposing keepers listening to Mongols. By the
Yeah,
way, giving away a
you're
little bit too much of the psychology.
you're fine. It's okay. Don't worry. Lots of you guys got awards. Etu got Player of the Game plus Player of the Week in the USL. You were named to the bench, so first of all, congrats on that.
Thank you.
You seem to be on another level. Did it feel like you were on another level in this one?
Um, I was certainly happy with how I played.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't think that there was a whole lot too different from my end.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's a results business, right? So like
Yeah, of
people
course.
are going to look at the results, and the results were good on Saturday. So I think there was a little bit of that. I mean, I look back at the game, and I think maybe the biggest difference was just being able to um, do some things on the front foot and not be worried about the consequences. And perhaps psychologically, that hasn't always been the case for me this year.
Yeah.
Um, I know, like, if you watch it back, like the first play I had in the game, I crossed the ball out of bounds. And I just remember like moving on from that very quickly, and that actually, in a way, just freed me up for the rest of the game. Whereas maybe if I had had a more positive first action, then you're sort of trying to hold on to something.
Yeah.
So, but I would say overall, I honestly didn't feel like it was like that different for me. It was just that, some of the things that were happening after I made my final pass, like, were a lot better. We were a lot more clinical as a team, and so that's where, again, as I always say, like, it comes down to team stuff, because I think maybe I've been making some of these same passes or plays, but we haven't been capitalizing. Sometimes it's been me on the end of it, or me making the final pass who hasn't done it. So, um, again, it really just it's results, and people are gonna say like that was a huge turnaround. But for me, I watched the game film back, and I was like, I don't think it was all that much different.
You're also very critical of yourself, so I wouldn't expect anything less. It felt almost like at times you were playing almost more like a number 10. Was that sort of an intentional change in the game, or was that just sort of how the game played out and the role you fell into?
No, yeah, we were set up a little bit differently. It actually was the same as Monterey,
Yeah,
um, but not something that we've done a ton this year. Um, and I mean, yeah, I'll be honest, like that's definitely my preferred position. I think when I'm a little bit more offset to the right, I know that I have defensive responsibilities in the wide areas, which sort of limits movement on when we're on the ball,
yeah,
because I know that I can't go too far, and so in a way, I think it becomes a little bit predictable at times for their backs. Like, I'm sort of in more of a 1v1 matchup, for which, for a guy like me, I'm not necessarily the most physically gifted player on the field. So like, I'm somebody who, when I'm able to read the game a little bit more and get in pockets and drift in and out of defenders' consciousness, like that helps me. Whereas
yeah.
if I'm always there, they can maybe take advantage of that a little bit more. So that's definitely, I enjoyed being there for sure. On the weekend, it was nice to be in that central role.
Yeah, hoping that we see more of it because I think it was enjoyable for everybody. We talked a little bit about trying to stay grounded. Bob mentioned post game that yeah, 5-0 is great, but he'd almost prefer 5-1-0 games because he got 15 points at that point. Which
Yeah.
not surprised hearing that come from Bob. As a team, are you guys? Did you come in Monday and does everybody just feel grounded, or are you guys trying to ride that wave into the game this weekend?
Think everybody probably approaches it differently. I know for me, I've been definitely wary all week, and I think credit to the guys in the locker room. I think everybody has approached it pretty well this week. But I was definitely going into the week like, if people are going to start getting loose, or feeling like we've arrived at this point, like that needs to be shut down pretty quickly, because we've got a long way to go,
Yeah,
and we dug ourselves quite a big hole. And like I said, one game is one game, and it felt really nice on Saturday. There's no doubt about that. But we go into our next game, and Hartford really shows up on the weekend, and we're in a dogfight again. And
yeah,
so it was nice to be able to play 90 minutes like that. And as the game went, we kind of grew in confidence, and like that was great. But we're really back to square one when the whistle blows on this Saturday. So um, it's really just taking it one game at a time. But that being said, I mean, there's obviously a lot of positives to take. We need to, and we took stock of kind of like what we did well on the weekend, and hopefully we can reinforce some of that stuff, so that we can reproduce the performance.
yeah. It was a really tough one because it felt like a moment that everyone was celebrating, but then as you say, you look back, you're like, "It's one game." Like, guys, it's one game in the middle of the season. Like, we didn't just, we didn't make a big run in the cup. Like, that's not what this is not Columbus all over again, but
Right.
at a certain level, it kind of felt like that. So it's just weird,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
celebrate, don't celebrate, but yeah, so I get it. I get
I
it.
think it's important to take those moments too, like when it has been a season like this. I think in the past we've almost been guilty of taking winning for granted. I've been on runs here where we've won 4 in a row and like you almost like have no reaction to winning, and it's like
Right.
don't take it for granted either because it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Um, so it's maybe a little bit of a balance, but I just felt like it was a huge relief, and for us to take a moment like after the game to enjoy that with the team and the fans was like it was needed at this point in the season
Yeah.
for everybody, not just the guys on our team, but for everybody.
For sure. No, and I know it was much appreciated by everyone that was there. You mentioned Hartford. They've had a string of losses and a draw recently, but it's been all against top teams in the league, and they've all been giving up goals sort of like at the last minute of the game. What have you guys seen from them, and thoughts as they're heading into Highmark this weekend?
Yeah, I think they've been mixing it up a little bit. I know that they had a departure this week for somebody on their team. I think their lineups have changed here and there. I mean, I know, uh, talking to guys like it's been a tough season for them as well.
Yeah,
And when we're kind of worried about our own stuff, it can be hard to remember or easy to forget that like other teams are having their own struggles.
yeah,
I don't think Hartford's necessarily been thrilled with how things have gone for them this year either. But we saw them last month.
yeah,
What was it? It was probably about a month ago, right?
yeah,
And so I think that's recent enough in the season that we feel like we have a pretty good sense of uh, where they are, what they bring to the table, how they hurt us last time, um, which was certainly a really frustrating game for us, and honestly, maybe a low point in the season. So I think there's a lot going into this Saturday that we're looking to sort of find some vengeance on that because that was a rough one for us for sure. Just within the locker room and everything, it was a tough weekend. So I think we're with where we are now, we feel a lot better. Obviously, coming off last weekend, so I think it's a game we'll be looking to attack and give another really exciting performance in front of our home fans. And I think that's really what Hartford. They're a good opponent for that because they play pretty open. They have some guys on their team that can dribble. They have speed in behind, that sort of thing. We need to be aware of that, but it's also going to make for, I think, an exciting
yeah. You use the word vengeance. Vengeance sounds good right now against
game.
Hartford. Last question. You guys will be wearing a new kit this weekend. I'm assuming you've seen them. Can you like give us just a small hint of what we might see without spoiling anything? Just like a little taste.
In theory, I haven't seen them actually,
I
because
feel like you're being coy here.
no, no, even for me, I think there's only 3 guys on the team that have like
Oh,
actually
really?
seen them. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I through the grapevine though, I did see a leaked photo. The lighting wasn't great in the photo. I'll be perfectly honest with you. So I wasn't actually entirely sure, like on some of the colors, like what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Um, People are really happy with it. The
Okay.
guys, the guys, there was a photo shoot for like a promotional thing that a few of the guys did. They were really happy with it. I definitely liked what I saw. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I guess
Cool.
I'll leave it. I guess I'll leave it there.
That's fine. No, I think you gave just enough of a taste by saying the word colors because I think a lot of people were like, "Is it just going to be white?" Because we're having a whiteout, and there was so you don't have to confirm or deny. We'll just
Yeah,
say that you
no,
said the word colors.
it's not.
Yeah.
I'll say that as well. It's not like too plain. And
Okay.
I was a big fan of our whites last year. I don't know how
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone felt. I loved the jersey. I thought the whole kit, the white, black, white, was really nice. But I think
Yeah.
people are gonna enjoy it this weekend too. So
Awesome. 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 Well, Robbie, I always love talking to you. Thanks so much for joining. Best of luck this week against Hartford. Here's hoping for another massive 3 points this Saturday.
yeah, let's do it, Mike. Thanks, appreciate it.
And thanks to everyone for watching and listening. We will be back with more Hounds content very, very soon.